If you are worrying about getting sales on Amazon, quite simply, there is one thing you need to know. That is controlling the buy box. Now, this is where 85% of all the sales happen. And if you don't know about the buy box, don't worry, because today we are going to share about what the buy box is and how to get more sales by getting on that buy box. Stay tuned. If you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson, and quite simply, I have been selling on Amazon now for 4 years. What am I going to go through today? Number one, I'm going to go through why do Amazon sellers want to be winning the buy box. I'm going to give you some top tips and tricks to getting on the buy box and winning it. So let's get into it now. I've had a detox recently. 4 days, no coffee. It's like withdrawal symptoms. But don't worry people, I'm back on it. Okay, so first things first, why does it matter if you control the buy box? Well, quite simply, going back to that example we looked at, if there were 10 sellers on that listing like there were, when the customer comes in to click buy, only one of them is going to actually make the sale. Now, the person who is named on that buy box, and remember, I think that's like Black Pearl, they are the store, the supplier, they are the ones who are going to make that sale when the customer clicks add to basket. So out of all these 10 sellers, 9 of them aren't going to make a sale and 1 is. Hence why 85% of the sales, we guess, are through the person who is named on that buy box. And that's really, really important. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much profit you might make or ROI you might make, it's actually selling the item that realizes that profit and ROI. And obviously the more you can sell, the better, the more money you're going to make. So controlling the buy box is really, really important. Quick question I'll ask you is, we'll go through what influences getting on the buy box and staying on the buy box, but a lot of people use something called a repricer to support them in doing that. Quick question for you, are you using a repricer or even thinking about it? If so, drop it down in the comments below. I'm interested to understand maybe the name of the repricer or one that you're thinking about, and hey, I can give you my feedback on that as well. So drop it down in the comments. Are you looking at a repricer? If so, which one? Now, this leads me nicely onto top tips for winning the buy box. Now, I mentioned it earlier and I'll mention it again now. Down below, I've dropped a free download that you can access, which is going to give you a cheat sheet to support you in understanding what you need to know of what the factors are that affect controlling the buy box or getting on the buy box and in what order. Certain things have a really big importance, we'll go through that in a minute, and other things aren't so important, but you probably want to be aware of them. So download that, it's just going to help you. Stick it up on the wall, share it with your VA, for example, it's just going to make a difference. What are the top tips, or what top tips can I share with you that are going to help you in getting that buy box and obviously supporting you in growing your business? First things first, generally speaking, and the top 2, but the first one I'll say is price. Price is going to have the biggest impact upon your position on the buy box. So out of all of the people on a listing, generally if you are the cheapest, you should be winning the buy box. There is another thing which we'll talk about in a minute, but generally speaking it's price. If we jump on the computer quickly, I'll give you an example of where you can kind of see that in action. So coming back to this example here with these Pampers new baby sensitive wipes, what we can see is the buy box right now is £13 and there are 10 sellers. So if I click on the 10 sellers, what you're going to see is it's going to load up all the different sellers on this listing. Now you can see here you've got £13, £13, £13.59. Now there are other sellers who are more expensive and Amazon's listing them. Now quite simply, we've got one who's quite cheaper here, but I'll kind of explain why in a minute. Now quite simply, what you're looking at is to say Black Pearl Shop is the winner on the buy box, and you can say, well, why are this guy, WAP Emporium, why are they not? Well, quite simply, they are more expensive than Black Pearl Shop. Now, the other thing is if you match the same price, you've got here Black Pearl Shop and you've got Cheshire Gift Shop down here, if you match the price, what happens is Amazon generally rotate the buy box or allow you to share that buy box based on the other factors we'll talk about in a minute. So first and foremost, price is generally the most important. Now, the second most important thing is what's known as fulfillment options. Now, this is quite simply whether you're doing FBA or FBM. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon, and this is whereby Amazon ships the products from its warehouses to the customer. An FBM, fulfillment by merchant, this is whereby you ship the product to the customer, i.e. through like Royal Mail or something, or UPS or DHL. Now, quite simply, is Amazon prefers its own partner. It prefers its own logistics, i.e. getting it to the customer, because it can pretty much guarantee them, and people like to use Amazon's logistics. Why? Because it comes free as part of the Prime membership, part of the free next day delivery or 2-day delivery in the US. Now, Amazon generally prioritizes FBA sellers over FBM sellers if everything else is pretty much the same. Now, the interesting thing which I'll just share with you is sometimes, and we've seen it, you can be an FBA seller and actually sell at a higher price than an FBM seller because the shipping options really help you out. Top rule or general rule of thumb, maybe up to about 13% more expensive. It can work, but it does depend on the listing, the variation, and the other parts of the Amazon buy box factors, which we'll talk about later. But that might be about as high up as the price can go for you to still win the buy box and be more expensive than maybe the other competitor because of the fulfillment option. So generally speaking, cheap price or the best price, competitive price, and FBA is pretty much going to win you the buy box. Okay, so that is everything from me about winning the buy box. What I will say is if you like that content and found it helpful, give me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. I'm always putting it out to support you in your Amazon business. But what I will say is I will drop a link around here to that repricing video to talk about different reprices that are going to help you stay on the buy box and win more sales. But for me, Thomas Parkinson, thank you very much.